Been quite a lot of back and forth throughout this batch, but in the whole, not many changes have happened. I think the problem is that on the surface, some of these bots are very good to start with, and some of the bots were not very good to start with. If that makes sense, but not awful. There was no real awful bots in this batch that you look at and go, yeah, they need a massive rework, like the legacy bots. And I just feel like they should have put one of the legacy bots maybe in here to give people something to really go for, because what we've got right now, I feel, is that we're keeping the really awful bots for legacy bots. And Dale has said that the legacy bots are not going to be war bots. They're not designed to be the best bots in the game. So they're upgraded to be pretty decent. And they are pretty decent, but not like amazing. So then the bots that are left for the 5-star batches are not the awful bots, but the pretty good bots. But then they don't make them into war bots either. So for me, I would rather them have the legacy bots that are awful, buff the hell out of them and make them war bots and make them actual viable. And then the bots that are alright, then make them legacy bots because there'll be less work, if that makes sense. But I just feel like right now they're sort of a bit behind with everything and just struggling for time. And so, although there's some good changes here, I don't think there's anything that's really like. There's no wow factor in here. I'll go through them sort of bot by bot and explain why. But obviously we've got a price change for Alpha Trion. So he's changed to 4+3. I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to think now what it was originally. I think it was like 5 plus. Was he 5+3 originally or 4+4 originally? I can't remember now, but 4+3. And the reason for that is I still think it's quite expensive, if I'm honest. Reason being that he's a support bot. He doesn't do anything really himself. He needs other bots to support him, and I've sort of touched upon this in the past, where again I was talking about another bot. I can't remember what bot it was, but I said that it should be like 3 points or 2 points because you need that bot to combo with another bot. So there's another bot in the shuttle that you need to do something, but he can't do anything on his own. So he's not really good for leveling or anything like that. So I can't remember what bot it was. I'm trying to think, but for me, these bots that sort of do these things, they should be like a cheap cost of like 2 or 3. I just feel like Alpha Trion is not the best bot anyway, and just the cost reduction is not quite enough. And people just said that in the play test that the main thing you're going to use it for is for jets, because it gives the jets a damage increase. The DPS increase, the extra healing, extra protection, and all them sort of things. It's here or there, really. We've got a cost reduction to 5+5 for Wreck-Gar, and the big one for me is that he's broken. They could make this 3+1 if they wanted. They could make it 1+1 if they wanted to. I mean, that'd be stupid to fair, but they could make. The point I'm making is they could make this really cheap. But the point that when you deploy your combiner, it cancels anything. You're really limiting to when you can use it. So you're trying to force people to use their combiner early to use this bot. But then what if people have a base design for people to use the combiner late for whatever reason, and that's the kind of base design they've made? It means you've got to use Wreck-Gar late. So I'm not sold on Wreck-Gar either. If it was 5+5 for reviving a bot, but he was working as it's supposed to. But the eights have sort of gone, well, we'll do 5+5. We think that's cheap, but because he does this with the combiners, that justifies the cost. It shouldn't. It shouldn't even be a factor. It should be it's 5+5, and we're gonna fix that. Because what are they gonna do? Fix it and then think 5+5 is too cheap now because they fixed it? It's a bug. It is a bug. Regardless of what, it's not something designed in the game. Regardless of what they say, it is a bug. And so Wreck-Gar's not working as intended. So there's that. Next one's Grapple. The mine from before was broken, not working properly. So a mine that actually absorbs 95% of damage. Just think 5% of damage. It's not a lot. So it's not taking much damage. And it wasn't doing Grapple's health either. So although it doesn't like done much changes on the surface, it says that just fixed him to do what his tooltip says. He's actually a lot better than what he was. But the fact that he's a melee bot kind of go against him with a low health, things like that. Combat choice, these sort of things don't really go for him. And then the fact that I wanted to use him on defense. I thought that'd be really good. I thought if I could put Grapple on defense and he pops his mine down and it attracts all the bots to that mine, I thought that's pretty good. That can create a really good kill box area. And that opens up a whole new, you know, sort of base design meta of dragging people in. And it reminded me a bit of the old China server. So on the old China server, when the combiner popped, all the bots on the field got attracted to the combiner wherever it was. And you had to work around that and think about that because it was a different playstyle. And I'm not saying that's a good thing for any means, but I do like a different option that's going to attract your bots in. And so you've got to be careful when you pop it. You can't just maybe pop it with a sack and then attack right at the bottom of the launch pad, because all of a sudden you've got grappling, all your bots are going to start walking up towards that mine halfway up the map. So I've talked about this previously plenty of times. I like things that change your playstyle or force you to not do a certain playstyle or force you that you can't play this way. And think outside the box a bit around different playstyles. And I like that. The fact that you should be able to look at a base and go, all right, I do this attack, I do a walk on every single base. I would like it so you go, oh, actually, I can't on this base because of this. I should try this instead. And I've been trying a few rushes and things like that and backdoors to drop down a few alliances just to chill for a bit. I've been trying different attack strategies just to keep me busy, just to keep me sort of interested rather than just walking every base and, So I've tried a few different things. But on Grapple, if he worked on defense like that, I'd be sold. I'd be sat here now saying, I want Grapple. Unbelievable so. But I've tried it and it just doesn't do that. It doesn't attract in a wide enough range on defense. So sadly, Grapple's a miss as well. So all of a sudden, we've got 5 bots in here and 3 I want to avoid before we even go on any further. Then we've got Afterbreaker. Afterbreaker, a great upgrade from the 4-star. If you use 4-star Afterbreaker, I understand going for the 5-star, but for me personally, I don't use the 4-star a lot. And when I do use the 4-star, it does what it's meant to. So I don't really need the 5-star. I think it's a bit of a waste. It was the same with when Blur came out as a 5-star. I didn't have that need for him, that want for him. Because but the 4-star does that. The 4-star drops 4 hollows and dies. If anything, I want the 4-star so it dies quicker. So I'm not... The attack's not lasting longer. So if the 4-star does enough without the 5-star, then why get the 5-star? If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. That's sort of point I'm making. But it's just got a normal 5-star upgrade from the 4-star. And then we come to Slug. And this is probably the one I'm most disappointed in. Although it's the best one in the batch. It's probably the best bot in the batch. He's pretty much like Pipes, but with fire. And he's also a combiner bot. So he's definitely the one in the batch that people are going to want. But I'm a bit disappointed because we get these Russian warriors now. And it's kind of like a copy and paste. And they all are. And we had a bit of an opportunity here to do something a bit different with Slug. And I think Dale did try, but I think kind of ran out of time towards the end. And I think it just lacked a bit of insight, really, into what we can do with him. And I think we just need to think outside the box now. We get these Russian warriors, and we've got Ironhide, we've got Pipes, now we've got Slug. I just don't want another Russian bot that does the same. Do you remember when we had, and everyone complained, when we had Slug, Pyromagna, and who's the other one that had a Russian bot? I can't remember. And the cons would be like Bone Crusher. I can't remember now. But there was 3 bots that all had a fire ability that they rushed in with. And we sort of said, listen, separate them. Make them different. And I know that Ironhide's electric, Pipes is acid, Slug is fire. Okay, I think 3 is enough now. We don't need any more Russian warriors. I would rather them change them. But I also understand that there's players that are lower down level where they've invested in that 4-star, maybe that 4-star sideswipe, that 4-star bulkhead, and they don't want it to change because they use that. So we're sort of in a predicament now of every time we do these batches, we're going to probably have a Russian warrior in there because there's so many. And just another Russian warrior, and you're like, I don't need another one. But if you've got Ironhide and Pipes now, you don't really need Slug, but you're going to pull him from 5-star Volcanicus. You don't need him. And even that fire and acid mix, it's not that much really. It's not that beneficial that you're going to, replace Ironhide with Slug maybe. Are you? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just not really sold in this batch. But when I look forward to the next batch, which will have Blue Streak in it, and maybe Leo Prime, And I've talked previously around myself trying to make an acid fire team just for a bit of fun. All of a sudden, there's 2 bots in there. Before I even start, there's 2 bots that I know are going to be desirable in that batch before any other bot is added. So rather than now having 1 bot that's desirable in this 5 and 2 in the next one, there's probably going to be some combiner bots in there. So I'm more inclined to save my shards and wait for the next one. I don't think I'm going to pull one. I really don't think so. And it's probably the first time, I think, in a 5-star batch that I'm not going to pull from it. And I think that's sort of a bit of a telltale sign as well that, it's very vanilla. That's how I've described this batch. There's no one in there that's awful. There's no one that can sit there and go, that is absolutely awful. You want to avoid that. Maybe I'll try a bit. I won't be disappointed with any of them. But none of them are going to really, rejuvenate my team. Make my squad any better. I've already got Afterbreaker's 4-star. I've already got Rook who can pop out better than Grapple. I've already got Pipes who could do the job Slug does. And I think that Minerva's better than Wreck-Gar. So we've already got bots out there already that are better. And we always talk about new content needing to be better. And we're sort of not getting there. We're sort of this new content, same as old content. We've reached a sort of ceiling now that the apes are refusing to go past. And I think that the problem is that we need an uplift in defense. But let me know in the comments who you're gunning for and why. Is there a particular bot you're looking there? I mean, obviously Afterbreaker's a combiner bot eventually as well, I suppose. So I think maybe Slug and Afterbreaker are 2 in there you might go for. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Who are you going for? Who do you want to try and pull out this batch and why? Maybe it's something I've missed that you think will be beneficial to your team. So yeah, let me know.